welcome to the first ever Inspired podcast. I'm really excited to have my first guest be the incredible Hannah Golding. She is one of the most inspiring people I know, so it felt only natural to have her in on the first Inspired podcast. So, Hannah, if you wanted to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your title, and we'll go from there.
Okay, so hi everybody. My name is Hannah Golding. I am your Young Miss International spokesmodel. I won my title last year in Texas, and I'll be handing over in Texas this year, which is sad, but it's all good. I'm also the founder of Sparkles and Rhinestones. I am the author of the pageant manual, and yeah, so many exciting things happening.
Yeah, you have a pretty full on life. Obviously, you have, when you first went to Texas, you just given birth to your gorgeous daughter Penelope, who is
A diva.
a diva at the best and the worst of times, and everybody adores her for it. But one of the questions I do want to ask you is, how do you find the time to be this amazing pageant queen and this inspiring role model for everybody, but still be like a great role model for your daughter as well?
So I think a lot of parents watching this, there's always, you kind of always have this mum guilt that you should be doing more, you should be doing that. But then you look back and you're like, actually, like I'm doing loads. Like sometimes it's nice just to step back. I love doing Sparkles and Rhinestones because I get to talk to people like through here, through Skype, through Facebook, and I can conduct most of the things when she's at her dad's, or if I'm writing interviews and talking to people, I can do it through Messenger when Penelope's lying on my arm asleep because she can't sleep any other way. But the beauty about pageants, and also the beauty of Yummy, which is why I entered, is because they're just so encouraging. And so I won pregnant. I did go over. Crazy enough, I shouldn't have, but you never know what's going to happen when you give birth. I thought it'd be an easy birth. I thought it'd be an easy birth and I'd be fine. 8 weeks is fine. I did not expect or see a cesarean in that sort of mindset at all. But you work, you overcome, you adapt. And pageants is just a nice way of keeping myself sane through it all. Yeah, it's a lot to juggle, but I wouldn't have it any way. I like to be busy. Like even before I was pregnant, I like to keep busy. I used to work 7 days a week and do pageant stuff in between, and so I'm always keeping myself busy.
You are the queen of keeping on top of things. Sometimes I even struggle to keep up with you and keep up with everything that you're doing. I know that you run both the Emmy and the Abby pages, so you and your scheduling and you're making sure we're keeping all in line. It's amazing, and it's truly it it just shows how good you are at these things. And I think that people could take a leaf out of your book in terms of actually trying to make their platforms and their social media a bit better and a bit more present. So what is something that you believe that social media has what is the best thing about social media in pageantry for you?
So I prefer doing stuff on Facebook just because scheduling is a pageant girl's best friend. I schedule stuff. I mean, for the Emmy page, I have stuff scheduled in June. I have like stuff for me personally on my pageant page. I have campaigns and things that I've already gone through when I've had time to myself and scheduled them, done videos. And I really think that using your pageant page is important, not just for the judges to look at your page and go, wow, this girl's doing this, doing that. It's also to get potential sponsors on board. If you are looking for sponsors, a good active page. I mean, Instagram is great, especially I'm starting to find a flow of it for Sparkles and Rhinestones, the Instagram now, but I have a sort of flow with that. And it can attract some people, but you're not getting the full audience. Whereas on Facebook, it's easier to share, to tag, I know with Instagram you can repost, but I think you get a lot more reach on Facebook, and it's the site that everyone goes to. But yeah, it's really important, I think, as pageant queen, just to show what you're doing, and you learn a lot. Like these online campaigns are not necessarily an appearance, I'd say, as such. They do classify as appearance for some. However, it's nice to educate people and to learn a lot more stuff. Like yesterday with whenever this goes out, it is February, the Reynards or Reynolds, whatever it is. I can never pronounce it properly.
The hands up for Reynolds,
Yes,
which
so
I still need to post. That has reminded me. See, this is why we have you to keep me in check.
but yes, like I did the campaign photos in November, but hence why I have longer hair there than I do now. But it's really nice to educate people and to talk about why, because a lot of people suffer from it and you don't know. Same as when everyone starts their own campaigns, it's just finding that balance of something that speaks to you rather than just another appearance point as such. So it's using your platform to educate. And when you're talking about having your own platform, you've got to really resonate with it, and that's what will allow you to be passionate about it and to promote it and to post about it and to create lots of different like things you can on social media, which is why it's such a great outlet for pageant queens.
Yeah, I completely agree. You obviously know a bit more about my platform than most people do. For those who don't, my platform is the Yes I Can initiative, which is a fantastic campaign that was set up by my mother, Kat Henry, who is lurking about in this house somewhere. She's probably still in bed, but it is basically trying to challenge stereotypes and overcome the idea that if somebody says you can't do something, actually, yes, you can. So how has there been a point in your life when you've turned around and said yes I can? Obviously you have a really inspiring story that I'd like to kind of delve a little bit further into, if that's okay with you. But how specifically have you turned around and said yes I can?
So, well, there's a lot of things in my life that I've had
Condense it into one or
to say,
two.
but I would use the before I well, Penelope would be one thing, but before I had Penelope, I was a personal trainer. I still am. I'm qualified. Like you never lose your qualifications. Um, However, I've always been a plus size girl, so it's been stepping over the stereotype. I've had to do it a lot in the fitness world that a plus size girl can still do exercise, can teach others exercise and inspire them to lose weight. I had a very good success story with a lot of my clients, which I now take into pageantry with training and interviewing. I've always got that sort of type. I mean, I've been a personal trainer qualified for a good 7 odd years now, and it applies to pageantry as well. But I was always overcoming that. You can't do this because you're this, you can't do that. I mean, I would teach a good like 6 or 7 classes a week, as well as my clients, as well as my own personal workouts. And people just assume by looking at you, you're not physically fit, when actually I was doing a lot. A lot. And also the same goes with pageantry. Now, when I first entered Yemi, the second time, well, 2016 was when it first started, but the second time I entered, I was actually pregnant, and I wanted to show that just because you are pregnant, it doesn't mean that you should stop achieving your dreams. I was 5 months by then, so it's fine. If I was 6, 7, I might be a bit, because heels are hard at that sort of thing, especially of how heavy he was. Um,
Diva from inside the womb, truly and utterly.
She was definitely a diva, and like by the end of my pregnancy, even though I was still doing appearances, I was on crutches, like I was having a lot of physiotherapy, a lot of acupuncture, but I had a title, so I was going to serve it justice. But that's why when I went into my interview for Yemi the second year, I didn't mention once about being pregnant. I just talked about my pageant journey, about my passions, about my platform, the stuff that I've been doing for my chosen charities. And I didn't want to be felt sorry for just because I was pregnant. Of course, I had to sit down a lot more than the girls when it came to heel, but I didn't want to let that stop me from achieving my dreams. And now it's grown and adapt to Penelope just tags along and wins them before I do. So
Penelope is such she's so unique in her own way, and I genuinely I adore her for it, and I can't wait to actually watch her grow up into a young adult, especially with an amazing and inspiring woman like you. So let's get a bit more into what's made you who you are, because I know obviously what you've been through, probably not as much as you'd like to give away, but what is your story like? Where did everything start? What take us way back? How
oh,
did
I'm too
all of
old. You don't
this
want to be doing that.
how did you get into pageantry? How did you become such an like what molded you to become so inspiring and such a role model?
So I've always had to at a young age. I grew up very quickly. I'm one of 5. I'm the second, like the second, yeah, second oldest of 5. So I mean, my family had been through a lot, gone through poverty, domestic violence. When I was younger, I was also a victim of sexual child abuse as well. And that kind of made me grow up very, very fast. And so I left. I got into a bad relationship for 4 years with an older guy, and I had like no self-confidence whatsoever. I was literally a shell of the person who I am today. Even though I was skinny size 8, I was not happy. I was just really down on myself. And then I saw a pageant locally. There was like a heat. So I was like, okay, I'd actually broken up with my ex-fiance, and I got into the gym, and that's where the gym is my happy place as such. I really feel like I am my authentic self there in the gym, even if I'm lifting weights and looking sweaty and whatnot. But I entered, I didn't think anything of it. I enjoyed it. I used to love modeling with my sister when I was younger because she's a photographer. So I was like, well, I'm too short to be a catwalk model. So let's try this. And also the charity aspect really appealed to me because I've always wanted to do something like that. And I came runner up in my first pageant and just got the bug like everyone does. And so I carried on my journey. Then I met someone else, and he was quite emotionally abusive. The other guy was physically abusive, and he was emotionally one. This one ended up getting broken up 6 months before the wedding. Oh, it's fun. But you know, you make light of it. I changed my wedding dress into a Disney dress, and I wore that to Face the Globe, which was amazing. And also I met the Wiltshire Beauty Queens, and they kind of saved me from this like deep depression that I was going into, where I wasn't eating, sleeping, just going to the gym just to comfort myself. And pageants were like, you know, going to the appearances, and it's really important if you do find queens in your area to go along with them, because it just makes appearances so different, like going with friends. And now I can go to different appearances and just meet up with anyone, but that's how long I've been in this pageant biz for. But yeah, it's just making light of the situation. Like I've gone through a lot in my long-ish life, but it's seen the positives. And I always say that it's looking at it not as a victim, but you're a survivor, and it's having that survivor mentality that I bring into pageants.
And I completely agree with that. You know, even that I don't know if it was an emergency C-section that you had with Penelope,
It
but
was
that alone, like I don't really, obviously I'm only like literally nearly 19. Like I was thinking about this the other day. I'm 19 in like a month and a bit, and it's really scary. But I know absolutely nothing about childbirth. So the whole emergency C-section, having birth, like having a kid, giving birth, it really terrifies me. So I don't know how after doing that and you're still healing, you managed to get up, get on a flight with a newborn baby, and then still compete and slay at internationals. Like it's crazy for me for me to even comprehend, because like I know people that are, you know, who do have some invisible illnesses, and they let that get to them, not just in pageantry but in everyday life. And you know, I have a friend who she's not very well, but she always makes a some form of excuse as to why she can't be somewhere or why she can't do something. And I've always said to her, just do it, just try it, just be there. Because you sitting at home and wallowing and being like, oh, I feel so sad, I feel so painful, nobody wants to be there, you're actually making yourself worse. I know that I went through it when I was going through all of my eating disorder phases and deciding I didn't want to eat properly. I was also drawing myself away from my friends. I went pretty much like you. I was like, right, the gym's my happy place. And I was in the gym, I was going to exercise classes. That was what made me happy. But then I'd come home and I'd cry myself to sleep at night because I wasn't happy with the way I was. So I think that you have that get up and do it mentality that people really do need to just embody. Because, you know, if you can get on a plane after a C-section, you know, and you can do anything, and you rolled your ankle before the Yemi finals and still came and you still slayed in your outfit.
Yeah, I don't
So
recommend that though, because it's still, my ankle is still
it's
bad.
still bad, yeah. So one massive part of what you do since you've won at internationals is you have a lot of charity drives. I know you have the Code Red project. You've just donated, I can't remember, how was it, just 100 books to 125 books. And I can't even imagine how much planning goes into that. So did everybody donate? Like, was that donated, or was that things you bought? Or explain a bit about how you kind of raise for your projects and for your donations to charity.
So before I answer, I just wanted to go back to that when you were talking about the whole like mentality. I mean, it's taken me a lot to get to this like stage of my life, and there will be people that deal with it different ways. So it's hard. Sometimes you do have to have that self-following, but there is light at the end of the tunnel. Same with the C-section, that was 16 hours in intense labor, as well as being in hospital 2 days beforehand as well. So it was, by the end of it, I was just screaming, just get and I never looked at C-section, because I mean, I don't know much about childbirth. It's one of my biggest fears was dying in childbirth, and that's why, like, as far as not being able to have a kid, two things that did happen: I did die and I had a kid, so that was amazing. Oh, earring comes out. However, when it comes to planning, it's more of being able to give yourself enough time to be able to plan, and giving yourself a realistic target. So I could have said I wanted 1,000 books. That's not realistic. 100 books is fine, and we reached that within the Christmas period. Some people had promised and hadn't sent, which is tough, because they're still claiming it as an appearance. However, they've not actually donated the physical items. Some do get lost in the post. I do get that. But other people did donate and contribute to that. I only bought maybe 10 or so books of those myself, just to start off the project. I mean, Sister Queens America donated as well. So it's just more about publicizing it and reaching it. The same with the Project Code Red. I was really lucky. This was the fourth or fifth year. My mind's gone a bit now. But I used to be able to get the donations at my workplace. So last year, because I was on maternity leave, the year before I was on maternity leave, so it was harder to get the items. That then I set the hashtag Code Red challenge. So I really think that it's nice just to buy the items, but if you have like a challenge as such, like to get as many items as you can for £5, and also set the whole, you can post to me or you can donate to your local homeless shelter. So it's given them the option of donating locally as well, because some people, of course, postage can be quite a lot. If they're sending, I remember a few years ago, and getting all these boxes, and my postman was like, what is all this? And it's just sanitary towels, so many sanitary towels. But yes, setting a realistic goal for me, as long as I donated a box, it's fine. And we ended up, with the Yummy final, having so much to bring back. I donated loads and came back with loads as well. So it's just being realistic. There's a lot of planning. I plan 2 events each year for Sparkles and Rhinestones, for the confidence event, and that takes a lot of planning. But for me, because I get the venue for free, it's just all the stuff that comes around it, and it's just raising funds for charity. If only 5 people turn up, that's great. It's still money towards charity, but
yeah,
it's harder for those who have a target, who have to cover costs and things like that. So realistic goals, that is the key.
Yeah, you've mentioned your events with Sparkles and Rhinestones. Obviously, we have some amazing people coming to the big confidence event in April, and I have remembered in this interview that it is there. But I think that confidence doesn't necessarily have to be body confidence, because there are people that are really confident in their body, but there are people that aren't confident in, their personality, in the way that it may just be their facial features. It may be, a birthmark they have. It might be an internal illness. It could be anything. And I think that what you've set up is really great, because you do have a whole host of different people talking about different things, and that's really cool. So anybody who wants to come to that, I will post a link to that in the description, and I will also post a link somewhere around the Facebook page, so you can come and get your tickets to come and watch us all give a little sass, a little confidence to you all. There was something I wanted to say whilst you were talking, and it's completely slipped my mind. You mentioned something. Oh, your Sparkles and Rhinestones, your pageant manual. So that is currently for sale, as far as I know. You're still putting out copies of it. I'm still yet to get my hands on it. I'm very poor. Everybody knows the whole January poorness thing. As soon as I'm paid in February, I will be getting on one of those. But talk to me a little bit about what you can. Obviously, you don't want to be giving away your whole manual for free, but a bit about what is in it, what you can get from it, and also just any tips that you could maybe give away to give people a bit of a teaser as to what they can get in the whole book.
Well, when people say that, like, it's when Effie did a little live and was like, I'm not going to show you everything. The thing is, I could show you everything in there. However, you won't benefit until it's physically in your hand, because that's what it's meant to be. It's like a workbook. It's something you can read at night time. It's something you can practice in your interviews and things like that. So when I first started Sparkles and Rhinestones, it was a place for positivity in pageants. We did the Sparkles and Rhinestones Pageant of the Week, which is coming back. We do Skype interviews even. We do Queen Saturdays. We do lots of tips, and it's hard for me to record the tips because I'm thinking, have people already heard these? But people do listen to them. I'm not just recording to myself into a camera,
No, I
which
know
is
I watched them, so
which is
you've got one
amazing.
viewer.
That's good. One is enough, and then if it wins crowns, it wins crowns. It's all good. But I had the handbook, which I sold for a while. I did 2018. Was when I started it, because then the Yummy Girls bought it, because Dominique had it, Georgia had it. Like, it was a great. I was just summarizing pageants as such, but it was an A5, and it was like 30 pages long of information. And I love pageants. It is my massive hobby. It's a part of my life. It overtakes everything. And I've always had books from America, and they have some great information in there. There are some great American books out there which can be applied to UK pageantry. But like, there's a massive section on politics, and in pageants we don't really talk about politics here in the UK. It's not a question that will come up in the interview. It might do in internationals, but here in the UK it doesn't. So I wanted something that can be related to UK pageants, and something that pageant girls can just flick through and go, right, I can see this, this, and this. Like, and I can read this, and I can see there's a photographer near my area. And that's what the pageant page is for as well. We share that sort of tips, and we, encourage people. So let me get the manual here. So it has an index, a massive index
Oh,
full of everything.
wow.
Oh, there's on the other side as well. Like, this is like the first copy of it, so it's been adjusted since then. But we have, different types of pageants. So you can, if you're a newbie, you can see exactly what sort of pageant you'd like to go for. We'd like to go for glitz or natural, or whatever system. Find the right pageant for you. Pageant goals. Interviews, there's a lot of interview stuff in here. It's really in depth. So there's interview questions, there's 50 questions that are just random questions that might be answered. There's diving deeper into the questions, so what the judges want from that sort of answer, so you can like round your answer to such. Bullet pointing, which we always love bullet pointing. Social media, there's loads of different things about what to wear for appearances, what counts as appearances, what judges look for these things. Like, for example, evening wear, I don't want to see shoes unless you've got a split gown, because it just shows that the dress is too short for you. We have so much in there. There's even, I'm trying to flick through, I should have just looked at the index, but we have stuff like, here's the social media campaign for the whole year. So I've actually diversed it to what would be more applicable for pageant girls and the type of stuff that pageant girls post about. So there's literally February, there's loads for March, April, May, June, July, September, all the way up to December. There's not many in December, actually, to be fair. But there's always an idea. You can then use that to go onto Google and research about it. Or if you have a platform, like, said about invisible illnesses, I mean, I have a few, which I don't really talk about too much, to be honest, but it does affect, like, pageants, I guess, sometimes. Like, I don't really train too much to be in a swimsuit because I have IBS, and one of my triggers is stress. So I'm always going to have a belly no matter what. This is one thing though, budgeting, budget girls. It has a list of what to have, the money needed, and if you've paid it or not. So you can write the dates, hotel stay, outfits, hair and makeup, coaching if you need to be, you can change something out, accessories, beauty treatments. But yeah, there's loads of stuff in there. I always think for a pageant girl, my main tip would be to research pageant system. That's always important. Research, make sure that you are comfortable entering that pageant. Make sure that if you're fundraising for a charity, if that's one of the main criteria, that you know what that sort of charity is about, you know where the money's going, if they have a safe page. You want to make sure there's no hidden extras in your sponsorship fee. You know, what you pay is what you get. You're not paying for additional rounds that should be part of a pageant. You're not paying for your party. You're not paying for this. You know, it needs to be, you need to be able to research it and see if that is the pageant for you. Do you want to go to nationals? Do you want to go to internationals? International paid for. And then my biggest interview tip is always making a bullet point. So having it in your head that you have 3 main bullet points that you want to get across in the interview, that is the main thing. So you know that no matter what questions are asked, you can always go back to those 3 bullet points. And shorten your answers as such. Don't go too long. I mean, being a pageant judge as well, I get to see like both sides of it. So it's nice that the judges get to ask you questions, but also you want to be able to shape the interview to what you want to say, and you'll do that by your answers.
Yeah, I mean, you're helping all of us Yemi Queens with our onstage questions for Texas, which I'm really excited about
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not exactly the most confident public speaker. I can do it. I've been a theatre girl since I was a young kid. I've been singing since I was a kid, so talking to people is like natural to me, even though I've had my social anxieties. I've had my moments of, oh, I don't want to ask the chip shop guy for some chips. Like, I know I've been there, I've done that. But having that insight, because you've been to internationals twice now, you know what to expect, and that's just fabulous. I'm gonna need to blow my nose, and this is gonna sound horrible. This is what
Mm.
happens when you're snotty. I literally got a head cold this morning. It's disgusting. So
Yeah, no, the onstage questions, I mean, that's the reason why I won the Why Am I Spokesmodel title, is because I had great questions. And for those who don't know about the title, it's actually awarded after all the divisions, because it's like I beat everyone in the pageant as such, if you could say that sort of thing, out of like certain criteria rounds. And onstage question application was one of them. So definitely I love onstage question, and that's what we're working on when we do our pageant confidence event. It's not even a pageant because anyone can go to it,
yeah,
because all these skills can be put into real life, your interviews for jobs, every day. And what you said about social anxiety, yes, I feel that myself. Like, I'm isn't it an introvert, outrovert, I don't know, one of those, like both of them combined.
yeah, I'm exactly the same. Yeah.
But when you put a crown on, that's it. It's the comfort, if you can say it's comfortable.
Oh yeah, I mean, I don't envy you. I was holding Dominique's crown yesterday. Like, she
You
gave it to me
held
to
it.
hold. Yeah, she was like, "Here, just hold this for a second." Not even like I picked it up or anything. She was like, "Here, just hold this for a second." I was holding it. I was like, "Oh my God, this is like really heavy." And I don't know how. Like, even Mum's one when she went international, um, it was like it is really heavy, and she got like a dent on her head, and it's like everybody says like beauty is pain, pain is beauty. You know, I don't know about that, girl, because if I'm limping and I've got a headache, I'm not going to be the happiest person. So there was a couple of other things I wanted to talk about. Um, you are obviously the Why Am I spokesmodel, which is a fantastic achievement for you because you are a spokesmodel for not just Why Am I, but also for Yami as well. And you're also a really massive part of the way Yami is run. So talk us through, obviously I know, so this is no news to me, but for everybody else, what is Yami about? What is Yami about? What can you expect going into both or all 3 systems?
So Yummy is the only European entry into Yummy and YMI. And the way we pride ourselves at Yummy is that there's no chosen charity, so you can fundraise your own charity. And also, there's no appearance points. Of course, we have a publicity award, a side award. It doesn't go towards anything, but it is nice to be rewarded. And what I do with Sparkles and Rhinestones is the Aspire to Inspire award, which I award every year. We've awarded it to Ether and to Katie in the past 2 years. People submit an essay about their platform or about the charities that they're fundraising for. So the main motto is, of course, as I said, Aspire to Inspire. And that you can take it in whatever way you want to be. It's how you develop as a pageant queen, how you want to be seen by your fellow pageant peers and judges. So I aspire to be a role model for single mums, and also to be a role model for those who have gone through hardship, whether it be through abuse or through all the negative things that life has thrown. You can come out on top, and of course, yes, you can wear the crown, but everyone has a crown in their own different way. So Waimai and Yami is kind of like a double header pageant as such, but you can either win one or win the other. You can't win both at the same time. So if you haven't won in Yami, you could win in Waimai, and vice versa. There are different rounds. Yami always has an on-stage question. Waimai, if you're top 5, which every European girl did last year, you have to answer a question. So big shoes to follow for you girls. But it's just such a nice family run pageant. It's a very big thing of sisterhood. And as I said, I talk to all the American girls all the time, all the young European girls here from past. You know, Jan can't really get rid of me. I've been here since 2016. So, but
You've been around. You've been here. You've been at pageants. Not like that, of course. You've been there. You've been present. You've been the girl everybody really wants to be. I know when I started Yemi, you were the girl everybody wanted to be, and part of the reason why I chose Yemi was the motto of Aspire to Inspire, because it does lend itself hand in hand with my platform of Yes I Can. It's essentially the same thing in the way that I look at it. You know, you can aspire to inspire while also saying yes I can, and that's what I brought into my interview. And you could carry on about, because I know I've interrupted you and talking about internationals, so give us a little insight into what us European girls can expect, what people from who are watching can expect in June, and what are you most excited for?
So we have national wear, and it's different this year because it's been last year was more of seeing how everything would work with different pageant rounds, whereas now it's more free flowing and it works a lot better. So the first day you girls will go to orientation and rehearsals, and of course you'll meet all of your girls in your division, and I will just be there as a queen. Just I will probably be filming for the pages, to be honest, and getting some like behind the scenes footage. Then Friday you have Waimai, which is of course national wear, which is very exciting for you girls, and also formal wear. Then it will be announced as the Side Awards. I think Trailblazer will be announced as well. So Trailblazer is like the Aspire to Inspire Award. It's what you've been doing with your platforms, which is why it's so important as a girl to get that out on social media and talk about it all the time. And same with every platform, it's what you're doing with it, rather than say, I support mental health, which is great, but what are you doing to help it? Are you talking about your experiences? Are you fundraising for that charity? It's the proactiveness, and that's why I won the Trailblazer last year, which is somewhere in the background, um, because I was so proactive with Sparkles and Rhinestones. In my application the first year, I said I want to start doing confidence sessions, and then when I came back from Texas the first year, I was like, right, here's my first session, and I actually proactively did it. So then on Saturday we have our farewells, which will be sad, shame, cry,
Gonna
get gifts.
cry. I'm already working on everybody's gifts, so this is the most stressful part for Texas for me, is doing handover gifts for everyone and doing good luck gifts for all of my sister queens. It's really
Well, I prepare on your own outfits first. Like the sisterhood part can be can be done after you are sorted first. If you want that crown, you got to think about yourself, girl.
I
But
am sorted. I really am. I was when we were all together yesterday. Everybody's like, "How are you so organized?" I'm like, "I can't. This is why I budget, because I try and get everything done early. So the things I need to pay off, I have the time to pay off." Which, as you were talking about, was amazing.
yeah,
So Texas, what are you looking forward to? Because I keep interrupting you, and I need to not do
It's
that.
fine. It's okay. That's what an interview is. It's free flowing back and forth. I'm excited for my national wear. I'm working on it. It's not your typical national wear. It's something that it's just fun. I mean, I am happy to do it, and I wouldn't do it if I was being judged. Jan would kill me, but I'm excited for it. So I'm excited to share that whole journey of my yummy, where am I, BMI, all the fun stuff.
I cannot thank you enough for being genuinely one of the easiest people to talk to, because you give me a feeling that I can't even describe. I don't know what it is. It's like I feel like really at home talking to you. I think we're quite similar as people. We obviously get on quite well, and I can't wait for Texas, because it's going to be a whale of a time having all of these queens. We're all such big personalities, so it's not going to be a clash. It's crossed, but we're all going to get on real well. I do just want to touch a little bit on Sparkles and Rhinestones and what you've been doing with. Finally, I will love you and leave you after that, but I do want to touch on Sparkles and Rhinestones and what you have planned in the future. What are your plans for kind of the next year with Sparkles and Rhinestones, aside from the pageant events and the body confidence and the pageant events?
So Sparkles and Rhinestones is just evolving and developing into something. Because I have to, of course, juggle it with being a full-time mum. It's hard, so I have designated days. So in those designated days, I do the recordings for interviews. I also do lots of interview training as well. I just think it's just getting bigger and better. We're over 1,000 likes now on Facebook, which is great, and I'd like to get to 2,000 by the end of the year, which would be amazing. But yeah, it's just progressing to have more events to help other people in their pageant journey. I'm the official coach for Yummy, which is another exciting thing. So I will be holding a session just for Yummy girls, as well as Yummy girls for the next year will have their own little pageant handbook as well, which will be written especially for the journey to internationals. So it'll be touching on the application, it'll be touching on stage, and it'll be all the stuff that you have to do as Yummy Queen as such. It's always nice to have a handbook that's different from, of course, the official one, but because Jan does write her own. But this will
Yeah,
be
Jan's handbook is a fantastic. It's like what she's done. It is everything we need, and to have a bit more of an in-depth one from you and giving us a bit more insight into obviously we've got for our application, etc., etc. It'll be great to actually see how that will form. I'm jealous. I want one anyway. Just like drop me one anyway.
you paid for it, girl.
Girl, I
You'll have
will.
your own. You'll have this one. It's fine.
Yes,
If you win
soon,
at
soon.
internationals, you get that one. It's all good.
Yes. So, where can people find you in regards to your pages, your Instagrams, your everything? Where are you most active? Where can they contact you for interview training, etc.?
So my own pageant page is really easy. It's just Hannah Golden Beauty Queen. I just made it really generic because I've had it since 2012, so there's no point of changing the name every single time. But on Instagram, it's easier to change your handle, so that's just why my spokesmodel. And then for Sparkles and Rhinestones, you just search Sparkle and Rhinestones, and for Instagram, you just add UK on the end of it. So really easy, really simple.
You've done it real easy, real simple. I will obviously link everything down below. Hannah is fantastic with interview training. I mean, having interviews with her just as a contestant, as a queen, she does a fantastic write-up. So if you do want to be, queen Sundays or Saturdays, is it? You
It's
can
it
contact her.
depends.
Also, yes, nominations are also open for Pageant Girl of the Week. I know I've sent mine in already. And so, yes, thank you so much for being the first ever on here. And, thank you for putting up with my snotty nose and my blowing my nose and my ramblings, because I know I do go on a little bit. But thank you very much, Hannah, for being amazing. If you want to be on this podcast, send me a message, because I'm looking for girls to tell their inspiring stories, because I know that you're inspiring in your own way. Have a very fantastic day, and I will see you all next time. Bye.